Hello, everybody. Good morning. We have begun to record this workshop, so this workshop has officially begun. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. This is the last of 6 public workshops for the Pueblo del Rio Greening Project. In the past, we've gone over energy and water conservation, and today we will be talking about what renovations are going to or may happen or are going to happen, how it is that you can help us design it through a survey or through sending us comments or emails or text messages, phone calls. We are going to show some collages by youth team members that kind of show their ideas for how some of the open spaces at Pueblo del Rio should look like, or how they would like them to look like. We also have David de la Cruz from the Urban Studio will also share some sketches just showing what's possible. And I just want to stress they're drafts. They're not, it's not what's going to happen. It's just going to give an idea. And it's for you to give us feedback and to just start thinking about how it is these spaces may look like. We're then going to go and review the Pueblo del Rio Greening Survey. These surveys are anonymous, and this is your chance to directly influence what the landscape around the wellness station will have and the landscape at a different site. They're, again, completely anonymous, and they're bilingual in English and Spanish. And we'll talk in more detail later near the end of the workshop. And lastly, at the end, we have somebody from Northeast Trees, Joe Laskin, is here. And Northeast Trees is one of the project partners for this project. And he's going to talk about how to keep involved with the projects after the workshops, both the Pueblo del Rio and then the wider South Central Los Angeles greening project, tree planting and other projects around Pueblo del Rio. I know we've done this before, but I'm just going to ask about number 3. Raise your hand if this is the first workshop you attend. So please just go in the reactions and then choose the raise your hand feature if this is your first workshop. All right. Thank you, everyone. And just for a quick reminder, the people here for this project, David de la Cruz, who is here, and myself, Diego Renteria. We are from the Urban Studio. We also have Joe Laskin and Maria Arango from Northeast Trees. It's a project partner assisting with this project and with the longer term project as well. And we also have 6 youth team members. All of them were with us for the summer and as a way for them to learn about landscape architecture, design, engineering, taking care of trees, urban forestry, and other careers in this field. The 6 youth team members are Sandy Garcia, Leslie Germán, Uciel Marquez, Kelsey Ramos, Fernando Rivas Flores, and Tanaya Rush. They are here with us, or most of them are. They've been with us all summer. All of them live in Pueblo del Rio. So please give them a round of applause or thank them for being with us this summer. It's been very great to have them for the summer. And lastly, this work is supported by a grant from the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. So we thank them for supporting this work, and also thank the Housing Authority for assisting us and being a partner on this project since this is their property as well. Just in case you don't recall, this is your first workshop, the Pueblo del Rio Greening Project will redesign the landscaping the garden around the wellness station. That's at the corner of 54th and Long Beach in Pueblo del Rio. This is a photo of the wellness station. And this project is part of a larger tree planting project in the neighborhood by Northeast Trees. They're going to plant about 700 or so trees in the neighborhood and on streets and in Pueblo del Rio as well. And Joe Laskin, as we mentioned, will discuss this more in detail at the end and how to stay involved even after these workshops end. And as I said at the beginning, this is our last workshop. We've had 5 workshops before that. The first one was about energy conservation. The second pair of workshops were about water conservation. And this week's workshop are about the survey, the public anonymous survey, and also sketch ideas and how to remain involved with the project. If you didn't join us on Tuesday, that's fine. Today, we're going to share the same information. So you haven't missed anything, and thank you for joining us. David, would you like to say anything at this moment about the wellness station?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Diego. Appreciate the introduction and the welcome. So, hi, everybody. My name is David de la Cruz. I've born and raised in the area and super excited to finally be kicking off a small project like this alongside Northeast Trees, alongside HACLA. This project has been a long time coming. I've had early conversations with Miss Martin about like how much she really wants to improve the wellness station for everybody at Pueblo del Rio. And when those conversations happened at the same time, I was introduced to Joe at Northeast Trees, so super excited to have started these conversations about figuring out ways to improve Pueblo del Rio. Joe had mentioned he was working on a grant for the larger community, the larger South Central community around Pueblo del Rio for a tree planting project, which you will hear a little more about today. So really super excited to kick this off. We're at the last workshop looking to really apply the principles of energy and water conservation to this community center and figure out how we can support and keep community members aware of what ways they can take on energy and water conservation in a physical way, in a built way, and really create a welcoming place for everybody. So super excited to kick this off, super excited to continue working alongside Northeast Trees, alongside HACLA, and alongside the wellness station, which is a really important resource in the community.
Thank you, Davi. Thank you for speaking a bit about the wellness station. Now we're going to share collages that our 6 youth team members produced as part of one of the homework assignments, one of the only homework assignments we asked them to complete. We did ask them to do very quick collages or sketches, just demonstrating, showing their ideas for how the landscape at the wellness station or the landscape somewhere else, Pueblo del Rio, should look like. What's their ideal look, or what would they like to see in them? So some people also did other spaces. I think primarily the little park at 54th and Morgan, since I think some of our youth team members are more familiar with that than the wellness station. And yeah, these are just collages. They're not representative of what might happen. They're just ideas created by the youth team members. But they're important to know because even if this grant can't cover everything that they suggested or showed, this might help influence later designs. Maybe not now, but maybe later in the future, some of them could be incorporated. And also, these are anonymous, so we don't mention who made what, but we're very happy that they made them. We're very proud that the collages they made. This first one is about the using the wellness station or wellness center. This person, clearly I think would like more trees and more shade. If you can tell, there are two park benches, or picnic benches, I should say, and they both have little umbrellas or large umbrellas or canopies showing some shade and trees as well. And there's a playground too, and a basketball court. So, to me, it's like this person is thinking about like what brings people there: shade, playgrounds, places to sit and talk or eat, like a picnic bench. Or in the case of the basketball court, it's surrounded by concrete seats on both sides. So it's really showing that. Now, for this person, the basketball courts is a way for everyone to come together, and sitting on concrete seats at least shows that it's what they would like to, they'd like to be there, or they would like more people to be there. So that's what I take away from this one. All right. This collage by this youth team member, I think it's pretty clear that they would like to see a lot of green, whether at the wellness station or elsewhere at Pueblo del Rio. And they show people on bicycles, which is great. I think when I visited Pueblo del Rio, I did notice that there are those paths in between the buildings. It's one of those garden city style apartments, and so those are great for people to walk but also bike. So it's great that people of all ages could bike or scoot, like in the case of this kid in the middle. And I think one thing that I find really interesting is that if you see in front of the playground, they have this like play equipment, like a marimba or a xylophone. So it's clear that this person would like a playground with some shade, but also something that people can touch and like hit directly. So that's great for anybody of any age can use that, and it's a way to talk about music too, or share music. This design, or these suggestions, are for this little park at the corner of 54th and Morgan. It has a little running track around it, which you can see here, and some and some exercise equipment too. This person was thinking more about what plants should be planted there and where they should be planted. So it's great that they have these ideas like white sage, Engelmann oak, soy penstemon, yarrow. Some of these are also included in the plant list that we're going to talk about later. There's a plant list that I think Northeast Trees put together of plants that might be used for this project. So it's great that this person is thinking about what can go where and how it would look and how they're related. So I think it's great to think about what can go where and how you can make a space like this have more shade, or different colors, different smells, etc. This youth team member, I believe, is a photo that they took. It's also of that park at 54th and Morgan. You can see the running track there, but it's clear that this person is thinking more about who's using it on the running track as their focus and what's around it. So, having all those plants around it of different colors, those purples, showing somebody sitting under the shade of a tree, showing people of different ages and sizes. So, adults, infants, somebody on a bicycle, a man pushing an ice cream cart. I think it shows that this is something that they want everybody to share in that, and to, they like kind of what they would like to see there, ideally. Yes, Joe, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I really like the local vendor in being put in this collage, because I think it's like very thoughtful, and it's in a way saying that this space is going to be used, kind of like you said, Diego, for many different people. You see people here of different age groups, different ethnicities. You have a local vendor, and while that can seem small, I think that's actually a really great choice to make when putting this collage together, and it shows a level of thoughtfulness that this youth team member was really thinking about, was really thinking about who is going to use the space, and for what purpose, and making it so it serve different needs. And so I just really like that aspect of this collage.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's important. I know, moving away from this designer's landscape this architects, planners, when they make these drawings themselves, they have these discussions about what to show and what not to show. And if your drawing doesn't reflect elements of the community, like say bicycles or a street vendor, or the drawings, the people don't look like the people who live there, then that drawing may be taken very poorly. So this is important for a reaction. So it's great that this person included that. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Joe. This person also looked at the park at 54th and Morgan. As you can see, this is from the street, I believe, but they're pointing out kind of what they would like to look, or how it would look, or what they would like for there to be, such as water fountains, especially for the summer. They'd like to spread out the exercise equipment and maybe have different types of equipment there. So that's great to know. They also recommend having that the little running trail be a permeable trail, which is a great choice. That would allow water to trickle down and go into the soil as opposed to just running off onto the grass around it. So I think that's a great suggestion. And they do make permeable trails that can be used for bicycles and pedestrians. So that's a great suggestion. And also just recommending for more plants in order to provide some shade and give it some, they say livelihood, but I'm going to take that to mean color. That's one way to show livelihood, like different types of color. So I think these are all great suggestions. And water fountains are especially important for the summers, as we're finding out this week. And this is the last collage from youth team member. This is also for the park at 54th and Morgan, but I think what's most interesting is that one, primarily they show trees, and literally front and center, they have a picnic table with somebody putting themselves some food together, probably a hot dog or a burger. So I think this is a great suggestion about having, say, picnic benches, places where people can come together and sit under the shade of a tree, so they can eat, or they can go have some water, or have a soda outside and just relax and think about this park less so as somewhere to go and do exercise, but also make it somewhere where people can stop and be together, spend some time together, relax. So I think this is a great suggestion. Yes, Joe.
I just wanted to say, going back to the last slide, I just wanted to make a point because I really liked the drinking fountain idea, and I wanted to just share with the youth team members and the members of the public who are here that actually, and I just want to share this because I didn't even know it was possible until Northeast Trees did it. So on a previous project that we did on the LA River, we actually did what we called a people and pet drinking fountain, and we did a drinking fountain that had a spigot for people and then a little bowl at the bottom that you could fill up for your dog. And so I literally didn't know that was even possible until I saw it, and I just thought it was a really great addition to the park. And so just to elaborate on that idea, I really liked this youth team member including that, because I think that's if you can have that in a park, it's an important feature, because we live in a hot environment that's only getting hotter. So that's all.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Joe. Yeah, that is something that I've seen in different places. So I think mostly around trails or in parks where a lot of people and dogs go, or they have like a dog park. So definitely a worthwhile suggestion. So somebody joined the meeting. They're connecting to audio, disconnected. Great. Should I give them instructions, David, or?
Yeah, if you want to run through the instructions in Spanish.
Sure. Hola. So I see that somebody joined the meeting, and I'm going to go through the instructions again so they can make sure they choose the appropriate language channel. So we'll be back to this shortly. Hola, buenos días. Acabo de ver que alguien más se unió a nuestra junta, así que gracias por atender nuestro taller. Vamos a dar instrucciones para escoger el canal que quiera usted escoger. Tenemos dos canales de audio, uno en inglés y uno en español. Así que Les pedimos que por favor escojan el idioma apropiado para que pueda escuchar y entender y participar en el taller. Tenemos intérpretes en español en el canal de español. If you have a PC or a laptop, choose the language option, press the interpretation button, the globe icon, and then select your appropriate language, whether English or Spanish. In English, you should hear me or the speakers. In Spanish, you will hear the interpreters, Katia or Sheila. And once you're set, either give us a thumbs up or write something in the chat saying ready or everything's good. And something to let us know you've selected the language you want to be in. Para escoger el idioma que desea, si usa una computadora de escritorio, por favor escoja el icono del globo, dice interpretación o interpretation, y aparecerá un menú y escoja el idioma apropiado, inglés o español. Tenemos Katia's in the waiting room.
There's two of her, Diego. I think I see two Katias.
Yeah. Oh, issues with my monitor device. Apologies. Okay. All right, that's fine. I'm just going to keep with the instructions then. If you have an iPhone or an iPad and you want to select the appropriate language, please select the More button at the bottom right, and then select Language Interpretation from the menu that has the globe icon, and then select the language you would like, English or Spanish. Si está usando un iPhone o un iPad, por favor en la ventanilla escoja el botón que dice más o more. Está en la esquina. Y después en el menú aparecerá un icono, un globo. Escoja el globo, que significa interpretación o interpretation. Después escoja el idioma apropiado o el idioma que desea, inglés o español, para así juntarse al canal de audio que usted desea. And once you're all set, give us a thumbs up or write something in the chat saying ready to go. Si está en el canal apropiado, denos un pulgar hacia arriba o like. Okay.
Diego, I just admitted
Yeah.
her. Okay.
Yeah, I think this person has had issues with audio in the past. So, yeah. I'm just going to go to this one more time. If you use an Android phone, select, it's the same as the iPhone instructions. So just select the button that says more or más at the bottom right corner of your screen. Select the globe icon from the menu. That means language interpretation. And then select the appropriate language channel, whether it's English or Spanish. And again, once you're all set, just give us a thumbs up or write something in the chat saying ready or ready to go. I hear you. Just something so we know you're all set. Si usa un teléfono Android y quiere elegir su idioma que desea escuchar, por escoja o toque el botón que dice más. Después escoja el botón o el icono del globo que dice interpretación de idiomas o language interpretation en inglés. Y después escoge el idioma apropiado o el idioma que desea, inglés o español. Y ya que esté en el canal de audio que quiera, denos un like o un pulgar hacia arriba para saber que ya está listo o lista y vamos a seguir. If you have any questions, please write something in the chat or raise your hand. We're going to be here for a few seconds. Si tiene unas preguntas o requiere ayuda, por favor, escriba algo en el chat o alce la mano. Vamos a esperar unos momentitos y después vamos a continuar con el taller. All right, I haven't seen anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue.
That sounds good, Diego.
Great. The plant board. Should I talk about that? Do you want to talk about that, or
I can jump in.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you, Diego, for running us through that. Okay, so This plant board that we're looking at on the presentation is a plant board of some of the different plants that Northeast Trees is really familiar with working with. They know that they're accessible, they know that they're available at nurseries. So it's really important that we're thinking about some of the ways plants can be used in a landscape renovation. This plant board helps us understand some of the different plant communities that exist, some of the different ways that plant sizes, plant colors can be used. So we have white sage, which grows a lot larger. So that's something that we can use maybe, for a background to fill space. We have Winifred Gilman sage, which is a really beautiful purple flower that grows pretty large. A black sage, I won't run through all of them, but a black sage also grows fairly large, really fragrant, really nice smells that comes from that. And then you have some succulents, some sabilas are really popular in Pueblo del Rio. A lot of folks have those potted. They have some medicinal properties. So figuring out how to tie in the local context is really important. There's other options for succulents like coral aloes. Those are really great, really showy with the flowers, really vibrant and red. But yeah, these are some of the familiar flowers and plants that Northeast Trees works with pretty frequently. They know that they're available. So this is what helps inform the 2 draft concepts that we'll be looking at shortly. All right, so the next round of plants, and we have one more board after this one. We have lilac verbena. This is a really great I think it's a native plant. Most of these are native. If they're not native, they are drought tolerant or drought resistant. So these are just really great plants to work with because they're adapted to the region, adapted to the climate of LA where it gets really hot and there's prolonged periods of no access to water. I see a hand from Joe if you want to go ahead and add.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, because you were touching on it, Diego, with the locally adapted drought tolerant, bit, is that actually I would just want to let everybody know that we have a native plant nursery. It's not too far. It's in a different part of LA. It's in like Northeast LA, like El Sereno, Cypress Park area. It's at Ascot Hills, and it's actually led by our youth crews. So we hire and train local youth to be on our crews, and they run and have designed and built our nursery. And so to the degree possible, some of the plants on this project might be grown from our nursery. And that's important because we actually collect the seed locally from different parks and grow it. So it's when you do that, that that those particular plants are locally adapted to LA's unique dry, hot, desert-like climate. So I just wanted to add that bit, Davi. I hope that was helpful.
Love it. Yes, thanks for bringing up that nursery. I visited it once, and it's a beautiful place, an incredible niche within the Ascot Hills site. So, I mean, I know in the future, if there's ways that we can coordinate like a larger walk with the RAC or with other residents from Pueblo del Rio, I think that'd be really great to do, obviously considering a pandemic and public health and safety protocols, but yeah, just taking a look at what's available in the stock there would be great.
And last thing, we should do a trip. I'd love to take the youth team out there, and even with the current situation, we are doing volunteer events every first Saturday of the month. So if you want more information, please let me know. You'll see my contact information later. But yes, we want to plan a trip, and also there's available opportunities to come out and we'll send you home with plants. So.
Yes, thank you, Joe. And although, the youth program is coming to an end, but we can have your contact information, Joe, and we'll also make sure that the youth are plugged in if they want to keep hearing opportunities for future involvement. So yes, looking forward to that. So I just noticed and saw a message that we admitted a new person, and let me go ahead and run through without clicking all the way back through the interpretation. Buenos días. Veo que alguien entró a la llamada de hoy. Si necesita interpretación, estamos ofreciendo interpretación. Si puede encontrar el icono con el globo o si está en el teléfono, puede oprimir los 3 botones que dice más o more. Nomás le quería avisar que sí estamos ofreciendo interpretación y puede entrar a el canal de español para escuchar esta presentación en español. Sí, Diego, actually, if you can take me to maybe the last Android one, we can show just 3 quick tips. Si está atendiendo esta junta y gustaría tener acceso a interpretación, para prender esta opción, puede oprimir los 3 botones que dicen más para seleccionar su idioma. Número 2, puede seleccionar interpretación de idiomas. Se va a ver el icono del globo. Y últimamente seleccione el lenguaje que quiere usar para escuchar esta presentación. Y es español si necesita español. Solamente voy a hacer este aviso en español y ya vamos a continuar. Si, por favor, one more slide. Si ya está escuchando la interpretación, me imagino que puede oprimir el dedo para arriba, el thumbs up, el pulgar, y vamos a seguir. Thank you, Marie, for the heads up. I didn't notice. Okay, if we can go to the last tree slide. Excellent. Thank you, Diego. And finally, so although we're looking at a range of trees to plant for the larger project, we're thinking about the trees that may be able to fit within the wellness station. These 2 trees grow really, really large. So it's possible that these trees may not be chosen for the wellness station, and that's okay. There's still going to be an opportunity to plant large native trees like this somewhere else within Pueblo del Rio. And you'll hear from Joe a little bit about the larger project that I'm referring to. So the Engelmann oak is a tree that was brought up during the youth design concepts that we shared earlier. The coast live oak is just a really beautiful, well-adapted tree to the area, and it's a native tree. Obviously, it's adapted, grows really large, casts a lot of great shade for the buildings. So it's a really great tree to consider if we have the room for it at the wellness station. And so if there isn't a possibility to plant these large trees based on coordination with Aaron, the urban forest lead at the Northeast Trees group, then we'll go with another tree that is just as well adapted and just as able to provide some really strong forms of shade, if not these. Excellent. All right. So now we're going to share 2 possible concepts. These are really early drafts. Just wanted to let you all know that this isn't the final version of the ideas for the wellness station. Really, we still want to hear from you all on the surveys that we are releasing to the public. But for this first concept, just wanted to show you all what is possible. And I wanted to point out a few things. We have a power line friendly tree at the southern edge. This tree is a California ash, well adapted to the climate. The tree branching structure is spread out enough so that if needed, maintenance can come in and cut down the trees so that it doesn't impact any major power lines. One of the key things to note is that there's a power line that does connect straight into the wellness station from this area. So we just want to think about, if we do plant the tree there, how it's interacting with the utilities. Another thing I wanted to point out is we want to have a drought-tolerant demonstration garden. And this drought-tolerant demonstration garden uses a range of those flowers and large shrubs that we looked at earlier. We have some flowers that are colorful at the edge and at the borders of the demonstration garden. We have some larger shrubs at the middle of the demonstration garden. And really the goal here is to start to replace some of the lawn that the wellness station has, and really think about ways to show something else, show something different that can really reduce water usage and still increase and liven up the area here that's used by the community. So another thing I wanted to point out is, as a demonstration garden, it's really important to think about how we can use this site or use this place so that other people can start to use these plants in their yard, in their front yard if they live in a house, or in their apartment and potentially in a pot if they live in an apartment and don't have room to grow things. But just knowing and showcasing some of the different plants that we can use that are really water saving and beautiful and just really great to look at. Another thing I wanted to point out is that having boulders helps also slow down water when we do have rain. So these boulders also can function as places for seating, for under a large shade tree. There's a possibility to have programming complemented by this boulders that can be used as seating, such as outdoor classrooms, where I know that's something that's offered typically in the summer. And then the last two pieces, well, I kind of covered this seating area for outdoor classroom, but the rain garden along the north edge, this rain garden, the goal is to be able to divert the water that falls onto the roof of the wellness station, and then bring it into this rain garden that allows water to infiltrate and create kind of a colorful, vibrant place for people to see and to kind of know what's possible. And then also make sure that that water, instead of sending it off into stormwater drains and into the LA River, the goal is to really look at infiltrating it, replenishing the groundwater, and keeping the water on site so that it's not contaminating the ocean. So we draw that connection. And one thing I didn't point out throughout this concept is that signage. We want to have signage. We didn't include it because it's automatic. We want to make sure that people can interact with bilingual, multilingual signage that can show the kinds of plants we're using, the kinds of pollinators we're supporting, and also basically the larger concept that we're achieving with this intervention and with this renovation. So before we move on to concept B, I want to just see if there's any questions about the ideas that we're presenting here. I can take a quick break for 2 minutes and just hear any questions.
Feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself if you wish.
Yes, thank you, Diego. All right, seeing no questions. So again, this is an early draft. We do still have some surveys coming in, which we'll encourage you to fill out, and we'll provide the link at the end of the workshop. But we want to change this concept to really reflect what people want to see more of. They want to see more options for seeding, more options for different types of plants. We want to hear that definitely. So Joe, hey there, I see your hand. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to mention an important component. I am not a designer, but I do want to, like, I've been around enough designers to know, and I just wanted to mention an important design component that we think of when we do these projects is the maintenance part. And
Yes.
So, we're going to be working closely with the Housing Authority, HACLA, to, because we need their help to maintain this site. This is their property. We've had a long, Northeast Trees has a 15-year relationship with HACLA. We've worked at almost all of their sites. So we know this well, but I just wanted to mention it, as we do these projects and as we pick the plants, and as we pick the seating elements and all that, we have to think about the maintenance part, because we want the improvements we install to thrive and to be there forever. And so the thinking about how the HACLA team will maintain it, and of course we'll be there for the duration of our grant, the next 3-4 years. But I just wanted to mention that because it's an important component. And thankfully, native plants are low maintenance in themselves. After the first couple of years of watering and what we call establishment, which is the process of getting the plants well established in the soil, so they can grow on. You don't really need to do anything. So anyway, that's it, Davi. I just wanted to mention kind of that component of maintenance, because it's key in how we design and build the park.
Yes, absolutely, super important. That's something that we definitely want to rely on folks in the community to support with establishment, support with watering, reaching out to Miss Martin to water when needed. Yes, I know you brought that up in the last workshop, so super important. Maintenance and making sure that this is all really thriving. Thank you for that. All right, if there's no other questions, we can move on to the concept B. All right, so this one is a little bit different. We focus the movement of the water to the corner of the site, really thinking about how to bring everything down to that corner of the site, making it lower, the lowest point at the wellness station, and filling that with rocks, filling that with plants, so that we can just create a visual interest, but also access for pollinators to do their thing with the flowers, and to also have place to rest. Birds and bees, all of those, they're moving all the time. They're moving through areas that are really hot, that sometimes don't have a lot of trees. And so thinking about how we can use the wellness station as a place to support that. So this rain garden really tunes up that idea and introduces a lot of different types of plants, and supports biodiversity efforts. So another thing I wanted to point out is that we're focusing the outdoor classroom area and really using larger boulders at the north end of the site. You see some kids kind of sitting down on these boulders and being led by a teacher. So this is something that could be done really using organic forms that are fairly curvilinear and really naturally arranged, as opposed to really strict kind of seating that's in lines. So really thinking about how to support as much as possible the kind of positive experience with the landscape for youth and for young people. Another thing I wanted to point out, which I mentioned in the first concept, is really thinking about reducing the lawn area, reducing the grass. So moving that to just the area near the playground, and really changing up the materials everywhere else. Some other things that are key to this concept is thinking about shade at this side area, really close to the sidewalk. There is a lot of use. We've heard from youth that over the weekends, people drop by the wellness station and drop by this area specifically to just participate in food giveaways and all of that. So people line up, and so thinking about how trees can support that use and that day-to-day by providing shade, by providing a place for people to kind of be interested in what's in the area. That's super important. And then that basically covers it. I mean, a lot of this is just really thinking about how to replace the lawn and really offer something that is providing multiple benefits for people of Pueblo del Rio, benefits in terms of recreational use, benefits in terms of a place for folks to just come and sit down and kind of enjoy their day. If it's really hot, a place to come and sit down under the tree. And yeah, so really replacing the lawn is the main goal, and really creating something that has multiple benefits. So before we move on, any questions on what we're presenting so far? Sorry if that was a loud noise, but I'm not seeing any questions. We can move on to the next thing. Great. Diego, I can jump in and lead this if you'd like.
Sure. That's fine.
Sounds good.
Fine by me.
Excellent. So you'll hear a little more about the second part of this project. We will be having some surveys released. As of now, we'll share the links in the chat. So we have 2 surveys total. We want to hear your input from the public on the survey related to the wellness station, but also the survey related to the park at 54th and Morgan. So as part of this larger effort, we're doing more greening in Pueblo del Rio, and we're specifically adding trees and figuring out how to support renovations at 54th and Morgan. So we have 2 total surveys, and we want to make sure to hear from you all. Have you all fill those out? Have you all share those with your neighbors, with your friends that live in the area, and make sure that we can get their input so that these 2 sites that are renovated and changed are changed to really fit the needs that you all have and the ways you want to see them used. Nice. Thank you, Diego. So you'll see the 2 links in the chat. One of them is for the 54th and Morgan site, and the other one is for the wellness station. All right, so we can move on from here. If you all have questions, please let me know.
The first link is for the landscape around the wellness station. And the second link in the chat is for the park at 54th and Morgan. And again, I just want to stress that this will directly inform and influence how the final design will look. While Northeast Trees and the Urban Studio can't put in everything people suggest, some of them can be used, some of them may not be able to be used this time around, but it may help for future renovations or repairs, or for looking for grants to do some more of this work. So please fill out the survey. Please send it out to your friends or neighbors. It's bilingual. It's completely anonymous as well. There are questions at the end asking if you want to give us your information to stay in touch, but that's not required. You can fill it out without having to give us any information.
And Diego, I just want to mention one more thing. So, we've been talking about 2 projects. The wellness station renovation is going to happen this fall, this winter. So that one is, I mean, they're both very important, but that one is critical in a sense that it's going to be happening sooner. The other project is a longer effort, and it's definitely really, we want to hear your opinions and thoughts and input now. But I do want to also stress that there will be other opportunities for that project, either through surveys, I hope through in-person workshops with the RAC and Ms. Martin and the wellness station staff. So both very important, but I do want to mention that on the 54th and Morgan, that's a longer project, and we do intend to, there will be more opportunities to provide input.
Great. Thank you, Joe. That's a very important point to stress. Should we go over the? No, right? We don't need to go over through the questions. We'll just let Joe.
No, I mean, no need to go through them one by one.
It's a mistake in my notes. So now, as you just heard from him, but Joe from Northeast Trees, we'll talk about how to, the next steps for the projects and how to remain involved with the Pueblo del Rio greening project, and also the wider South Central Los Angeles greening project, which we heard about in detail at our last workshop. But Joe, the floor is yours. Feel free to share your screen.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Davi. Let me share my screen. Also, shout out to our interpreters who are doing a wonderful job. I can't imagine having to do that. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, is my screen being shared? It's the wrong presentation.
Yes.
Here we go. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Everybody Let me know if anyone has any issues seeing my screen, but I think I'm up on the first slide. So yes, my name is Joe Laskin. I am from Northeast Trees. I'm joined by Marie Arango, who's an architect, and she's on our team here. She'll be helping me lead this project. My main role, just so you know, is a grant writer. I'm responsible for writing the grants for Northeast Trees, and I help manage some of the projects. So it's important for you all to know who I am and to make a connection with me, because we have that's part of our role, is to listen to your ideas and to go seek funding. There's a lot of public funding in the state of California that's available for projects just like this. So we want to hear your ideas, and we have been around for 30 years and have a long track record of successful projects with community input. So I want to talk a little bit about how you can stay involved in the two projects that we're talking about here, which we're calling the LADWP Outreach Project, which is also the Wellness Station renovation, and the South Central LA Greening Project. So the picture you see on the left there is of the 54th and Morgan site. That project, the South Central LA Greening Project, really has two main components. Just to break it down, is the about 700 trees within about a mile of the Pueblo del Rio community. And the goal there is to plant trees to provide shade, to provide cooling, to combat climate change, and to create more safe, green, shaded walking connections from the community out to public transit, to grocery stores, so that there's just more greening in the community and cooling and shade. And also a huge part of that project is we want to work with the community, especially our leaders at the RAC, to rethink this site that we see on the left side of my screen. This is there's a lot of potential here. We want to do many of the things that you saw in the collages, add native plants, but we want to hear from you. And what do you want to see at the site? Now, I will say the grant is limited in the sense that it can only pay for greening elements. So unfortunately, we can't put in a pool, or we can't, we're limited in what we can do. We can do trees, we can do plants, we can do rocks, we can do benches and tables and all those types of things, play equipment. So that's kind of the summary on that project. And I'll go into how the community can stay involved. And I think we've talked enough about the other project. We all know it's going to culminate with the renovations at the wellness station, and really creating a sense of place for the wellness station, and supporting Miss Martin and all of her programming, and just creating a more welcoming, functional green space that serves the community. So how to stay involved with the wellness station LADWP project? First, contact us. We want to hear from you. You guys just heard about the survey that we're releasing. So please, 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 I can't stress enough, we want you to fill out that survey. It is anonymous. So that's also a really important point, as you hopefully tell your friends and family members, the survey is anonymous. It doesn't really, our main goal is to understand what you all want to see in this space, and then we can make that happen to the greatest degree possible. Also, pending COVID and its impacts, there might be an opportunity to actually take part in the wellness station renovation. We would hope to allow an opportunity for the community members to come in and take a plant and put it in the ground and water it. So that's we really want to make that opportunity possible. I can't promise it because of the current situation we're in. But anyway, that's one way to stay involved. A really great way to stay involved is to volunteer. Sorry, our interpreters, I don't know how you would translate this. A block captain for the LA Wellness Station. And really what I mean there is to help be our eyes and ears on the ground. Things that we would ask is to look, as you walk by the wellness station after we're done, look at the trees, look at the plants. Do they look dry? Are they being watered? And if you don't know what to look for, contact us. So I'm gonna provide contact information towards the end of this presentation of who you can contact at Northeast Trees. But if you don't know what to look for, contact us and helping us be our eyes and ears on the ground to make sure that the improvements we install are thriving and can last. The second point is to consider developing what I call a green team. So if you live in the community and you have a group of friends or family members, you can start the green team, and it's basically would be a volunteer effort to help water plants. Ask Miss Martin what she needs help with. Does she need help watering? Does she need help with replacement plants, which you can contact Northeast Trees for? So that kind of goes with the last point, but developing a green team with your friends and family just to make sure that the improvements we install are thriving. And then the last point is is more of an education point. It's just to spread the message to your friends, your family, your social networks on social media, even about why this project is important. You guys, some of our youth team members, well, all of the youth team members have learned a lot through this project about energy and water conservation. We are going through climate change right now, and so we all need to do whatever we can do, whether it's conserve energy or conserve water, to help us, because the natural resources we all have are limited and not infinite. Also, this project is important. We're going to be providing shade, and trees and plants have an amazing impact on mental and physical health as well. It's the statistics of places that have plants and trees. The people are usually healthier and have increased mental health, and so that's another really important part of why we're doing this project, is to provide those benefits as well. And then, like I said, addressing climate change and just building resilience in the community. And also, if you guys have ideas or think that I've missed something, please contact us. If there's another way you think you can get engaged in the project, we want to hear from you. The project is only stronger with the community's input. So on the South Central LA Greening Project, the ways to get involved on that I would say the best way is to, now if you live in Pueblo del Rio, this is not applicable, although there is a way for you to stay involved, is to request a tree via City Plants. And City Plants is a LADWP program that provides free trees to residents of the city of LA for your yard, for the street. Now, if you live in Pueblo del Rio, you can also sign up your friends and family in the community, or you can contact us, because we're going to be planting 100 trees, at least 100 trees in Pueblo del Rio as part of this project. So if you live in the community, that goes to my second point. If you live in Pueblo del Rio, contact us, because our project is gonna include over 100 trees probably in the community. So if you know of a piece of grass outside of your unit or between your unit and the next building, and you think a tree would be a good opportunity there, please let us know. I'm not an arborist, but we have technical professionals and experts on our team who are responsible for that. So please let us know if you have a good location for a tree, or you think you have a good location for a tree. Also, the same concept that I was talking about on the last slide as volunteering as a block captain. So this project, as in total, will plant over 700, almost 800 trees in the community, on the streets and in Pueblo del Rio. So we are going to saturate the community with trees and plants. And so, and that'll take a couple of years to do. But after that, we're going to need the community's help to water. We're going to be working with the city of LA and HACLA to help us maintain the trees. But the city of LA is very big, and they don't always have the staff. Oh, Davi, you have a question?
I feel like you've said this before. Just curious. So
Yeah.
It's 700 trees plus 100 trees, right?
Yeah, it's about 700 street trees plus 100. Yeah, so the total is close to 800 trees. So, which is like awesome. I think we actually just got done planting 1,000 trees in Watts. We just finished that project, and so this is what we do. We go into communities and we try to saturate the community with trees to increase shade and mental health and physical health. And yeah, so in round numbers, Davi and everybody, 800 is what we're doing, which is great. So yeah, so we're gonna do all that, and we're gonna need the community's help. You know, like I said before, these projects are only stronger with the community, and so anyway, I'll leave it at that. This is my favorite point on the slide, is just to be bold and think big. I said this at the last workshop. I'm still so impressed and very proud of our youth team members for the collages they did, because they're tremendous. They really are tremendous. And I love all the ideas that are in them. And you know, we've talked about these 2 projects that we have, which are limited somewhat in their scope. But, you know, I brought this example up last time. We're working at Ramona Gardens, which is another Hackla site, and we heard throughout the process that they wanted a new playground and new lighting, and we just secured a grant to provide that to the community. Now, it took a couple of years, but we want to hear all of your ideas, even if we can't fund them with the current funding that we have from the state. We want to hear your ideas, because, you know, myself and Davi and Diego are committed to, you know, continuing to seek funding and to work with this community to meet the needs and whatever needs exist. So please be bold, think big. You know, I will also say the neighborhood council has small neighborhood purpose grants that, if, you know, maybe if you've got your own nonprofit or you've got another community group, you know, or group in the community that you'd like to see do work, I want to say that, you know, mention that as a possibility that you can go. I know the Central Alameda Neighborhood Council has neighborhood purpose grants. Every neighborhood council has these grants. And so if you have an idea, and you know, you could either contact us or you could seek your own funding. So, and if you want help with that, contact us. That's what we do. That's our mission, is to help people in these communities. So, and then the last point is to just contact us regarding volunteer opportunities. I mentioned this project is going to be probably a 3 to 4 year project. It's a much larger effort. Just with doing that many trees, it takes a lot to get through the city processes. It takes time. It's not a fast process. So we will be, you know, working on this project for some time, and there will be, I hope that in a year we can all safely, you know, feel comfortable doing volunteer events, but that's to be seen. But I do want to mention that contact us regarding opportunities to volunteer, either at Pueblo del Rio or in the street, as we do our street tree planting. This slide, I just want to leave up for a second. And this goes back to the point of our City Plants program. So if you live in the community, these are some of the trees that you can get for free. You can get 7 trees for free. And if you live in Pueblo del Rio, which is obviously still the community, we will be planting some of these trees. So the 100 trees that I've been talking about that are going to get planted are going to be, you know, this isn't the only list that we're using, but these are representative. You've got trees like the crepe myrtle. Crepe myrtle is a popular tree that's up in your upper left-hand corner. It's a beautiful flowering tree. One thing I like about this tree is it fits in a small area, and you know, at Pueblo del Rio there are some parkways, which is the strip of grass between the curb and the street, that are smaller. So this is a tree that actually does very well in a small urban environment. You have you know, the Chinese pistache, which is more of a medium tree, grows about to 35 feet. Like you can see, it's got dramatic, beautiful fall color. The leaves turn red, which is very nice. Chinese flame is another small to medium tree that has beautiful flowers in the spring. And we've talked about the coast live oak and the African fern pine is actually a great tree. If we have space, it grows 60 feet, and it's easy to take care of and drought tolerant. So this is a representative example of some of the trees that we'll be planting. And this is our contact information. So for all tree related inquiries, if you'd like a tree in Pueblo del Rio or a tree at your property or near your property in Council District 9, please contact Jose Gama Vargas. He's our urban forestry specialist. He is an amazing wealth of knowledge about trees. His email is gama@northeasttrees.org, and he speaks Spanish and English, so he can take all your calls. And then obviously for design input, you can contact Marie Arango. She's here on the call with us. She's our project manager and architect. Again, an amazing wealth of knowledge, a lot of experience in the architecture field. So Marie is a great resource. And if you have ideas about the design of the 54th and Morgan site, please reach out to Marie or myself. I can also help with some design input in terms of providing information to our designers and also with volunteer opportunities. And Marie is bilingual, and my preferred language is English. And our emails are there, and our email structure is hopefully pretty simple. It's, just our, for Marie and I, our first name @NortheastTrees, Gama is just Gama @NortheastTrees, because we have multiple Jose's in our company. So thank you so much for listening. I just want to stress again, this is not going to be the only opportunity for us to gather input. So, the way we do things is when we have a project in the community, we try to stay there for a long time. If the community would like us there. And so please don't be bashful and reach out to us. We're friendly and we want to hear your thoughts and opinions and input. All right. I think that's it. Thanks again to our amazing interpreters.
Thanks, Joe. We also, if you check the chat, both Davi and I put in a lot of information while you were talking. So there are links for, there are links for the surveys. There's also links to the Northeast Trees website, a link to city plans if anybody would like to request a free tree or learn more about the program and how to be involved, and some information about the neighborhood council, the local neighborhood council, the Central Alameda neighborhood council, and we copied in the names, titles, and email addresses that you mentioned at the end, Joe. So
thank you,
thanks
guys.
a lot. So everybody feel free to take a look if you want some of that information. You can also always just email one of us and we'll get that to you. Let me see. So we are at the end of the workshop. The only real message that we have now that we're ending is please fill out the survey, tell your neighbors, your friends. It's anonymous, it's bilingual in English and Spanish. You don't need an email, you just have to be able to access it either from your computer. You can also do it from a cell phone or a tablet and it looks just fine. So it's very easy to do, shouldn't take you no more than 5 minutes. It's great. The links are there and they're in the chat. If you have any questions for any of us, please feel free to write them in the chat or to just unmute yourself and ask them. This is a great time to get any more. If you have any questions, please let us know. Other than that, if you would like to email David de la Cruz or myself, our emails are here in this slide. So feel free to write them down. Yeah, and somebody asked, is there a deadline for the survey? We haven't decided that yet, but I would say please get that to us for the next 2 weeks. David, unless you have any other ideas, but if you get that to us as soon as possible.
Yeah,
or at least by Labor Day.
Yeah, so Labor Day coming up September 6th. The goal is to have as much input as possible before the middle of September. So if folks really just in the next 2 weeks can submit that in the next 2 weeks, share it with others, make sure we get as much feedback as possible. A reminder, so these 2 surveys are public. These are to be shared with everybody, but there will be a 3rd survey for the youth that's only for them. It's only for them to reflect on their participation in the program. And Diego will be sending that. He'll talk a little bit about that. But these 2 surveys, really the goal is to get these just as soon as possible, ideally in the next 2 weeks. So let's see how many we can get. Please share them with your local contacts, your neighbors, your friends.
Joe?
Yeah, I just was wondering, and maybe Davi and Diego, we can talk about this after. I just was wondering if the Pueblo del Rio RAC is meeting anytime soon, or if so, if that would be appropriate to use that as an opportunity to kind of widen our reach on this, on the survey, or even the Central Alameda Neighborhood Council. I don't know, probably too late for this meeting, but.
Yeah, so there is a neighborhood council meeting coming up at 6:30 today. I might jump in, do a quick general announcement and share the survey.
Okay.
Or if Diego has time, I'll let him know. But RAC does meet internally every first Thursday or first Wednesday of the month. So
Okay.
thanks, that's a good reminder. We'll just make sure that they know about the 2 surveys that we have for the public and share that with them. Great
Yeah.
idea.
And I know that I looked at the Central, I know they've got a packed agenda today, so if we can squeeze it in, great. If not, that's also fine. I just trying to think of ways to make sure that, you know, we get as many eyes on it from the community as possible.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I know it's a packed agenda. Definitely planning to jump in. If not me, we'll see if Diego can make it. But
Awesome.
we'll
I
work something out.
appreciate you guys. Yeah, great.
Great.
Sweet.
Well,
You wanna
thank you
close us out,
everyone
Diego?
for joining us. Thank you for attending our workshops. If you have any, this is the last one. I just want to stress that. If at any point you want to get a hold of us, you can see our email addresses here on the screen. So feel free to email us or reach out to us if you have any questions, or Joe or Marie if you had questions for them as well. But thank you everyone for spending your Saturday morning with us, and we hope you have a great day, a great weekend. Stay cool.
Yes.
Bye everyone.
Thank you guys. Thanks all the youth team members.
Yes, lastly, youth team members, if you could turn on your cameras if you wish, just so that we can thank you for being part of this for the summer. If you wish.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
Thank you.
Pero mi mamá dice, ay, que no. Y de que se ponen eso.
Bye. Berta.